What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cyclone podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
We're really white.
Like the Beastie Boys. It fits.
We're painfully white.
Welcome
guys.
back to the podcast.
Guys, I've been away for a while.
Hold on. I'm Mick.
I'm Wes.
And I'm MCA.
You're
Eric.
not.
Eric.
Dude, too soon. I'm still mourning the loss of MCA.
9/11.
Rest in peace.
Wow.
It was not. He did not die in 9/11.
Yeah,
He died in 2012.
9/11. That's all I have to say.
They had 2 albums after 9/11.
all I have to say is 9/11.
Man, shut up.
You missed the joke.
Guys, I've been away for a while. Lots to talk about.
You have been.
I saw this documentary while I was away on holiday. It's on Netflix. It is called The Imposter. Have you heard of it?
The Imposter.
I have not.
It's
What's
on
it about?
Netflix. Okay. It's really weird. I can't describe the plot without giving too much away, so I'm just going to go for
Is it
it.
Bigfoot?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to go for it and tell you, and it might spoil a little bit, but
That's
it's still
okay.
worth a watch.
That's
It's still such a good movie that it's worth watching.
Lay it on us.
So, the basic plot of the movie The Imposter on Netflix is a family reported that their son, who was, I think he was like 12 at the time, went missing in, I think it was Texas or something like that. He goes missing, and it's like this big thing, and then 3 years later, they get a phone call from Spain saying, "We found your son." He was in Spain. He didn't have a passport. He somehow got found 3 years later in the middle of Spain. And then they went and they got him and they brought him home. And it was like, oh, my God, like, we're so glad that he's back and all that. Until, based on the name of the movie,
He was an
Some
imposter.
it wasn't the
It wasn't a real kid?
It wasn't the kid.
I know.
Whoa.
It was a robot.
No.
Rise of the Machines.
Hold
No,
on.
dude, I wish it was a robot. That would
So
have
hold
been
on.
less creepy.
This is a documentary.
It's really
it's a
happened.
real
Yeah,
thing?
this is a
It's
documentary,
really
not
happened.
a movie.
Yeah, it's a real movie, a documentary. It really happened in the 90s. This guy was like 23, and he was French, and he, for the longest time, like at the end of the movie, they show all of his aliases that he had used over the years. Fucking so many.
Whoa.
He would just take over like fake identities and stuff, and the way that he goes about becoming this kid is honestly, he talks about it like it was his biggest dream to become somebody.
Well, how old was the kid when he went missing?
Like
12.
like 12 or something.
And then you
like
said,
like
like-
way too young for this guy to be playing him. So then when they found him, he should have been like 15, 16, 17 in that range.
So you get some guy with fucking
So
like
there's
a beard
this,
and
this 23-year-old. Yeah, so that's part of it. Is that so the way that he goes about like convincing them that he's their son is that he goes and he lets himself get like picked up by the police, and the whole time he's like giving off the body language of like a nervous, scared kid kind of thing, and he talks about it like they have him like in the documentary talking about what
This
he
guy,
did and all that.
did he get arrested?
Yeah, I think
for
so.
Identity fraud?
Um,
How does it
did
what-
he make it to the States?
Yeah, like he lived with this family for
how long?
I don't even
How
know.
didn't they figure out? Are these people dumb?
What kind of
Like,
shitty
There's-
parents don't know
How do you not know their
who
son?
their kid is?
Do you want me to just spoil it for you?
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, because I want to watch this tonight.
I don't want
Because there's a couple twists in it. But I want to tell you. But
Just tell us.
I'm not gonna.
We'll probably forget. Let's be serious. You're gonna get stoned and you're gonna zone out and not remember. And I just really don't give a fuck about anything.
Okay,
so.
okay. For those listening that want to watch The Imposter, stop listening for the next 30 seconds.
Okay, I am ceasing to listen.
Yeah, I want to listen.
Ceasing
To this
this conversation.
I want to hear.
Go ahead.
So it
La,
turns
la, 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 la,
turns out that the family actually killed their actual son,
Holy
and the guy that's imposter, like that is faking to be the kid, finds out and
goes
like
to the police.
accuses the mom, and she just like plays dumb, and then he
What the
leaves because
fuck?
he's so freaked out by this family who's like playing along even though they know he's not the actual kid.
What the fuck?
But then there's a theory that some of them knew and some of them didn't. So the ones that didn't know actually thought he was the kid for some reason. Like they were so like
So wait,
worried.
like,
or
part of the
whatever.
family didn't know.
Yeah.
Like the
so
mom
then
did it.
so then he goes to the cops and says like, you gotta help me. Like I'm faking it, but they're actually fucked up.
Oh, so
And
it's
then-
kind of like he gave himself like a mini plea bargain.
Yeah,
just to
kinda
get these
thing.
Psychos.
So then I don't know. I can't remember exactly what happens at the end, but that's the twist in it is that it's weird and whatever. But
Holy
still
fuck.
watch it. All
Now I
right.
want to watch it even though I know
We're
what
good?
happens. Holy fuck,
Yeah.
Nick. You
So
missed it.
so Mick,
Holy fuck.
So here's the interesting thing. Mick, you're gonna watch it,
Yeah.
knowing nothing other than what I've told you.
I'm gonna
Eric,
watch it
you
with
should-
like a boner the whole time, waiting for this thing to happen.
Eric, you should still watch it, even though you know what's up. Anybody out there that's listening, still watch it because it's great. I
Dude.
knew that going into it too. I knew the whole twist and I knew
That's
everything.
such a
It was
trip.
still a great movie.
Okay, well, I don't know a thing going into it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it's fucked, man. It's fucked.
You were saying you watched the documentary too, Mick?
I did, yeah. What did I watch? I watched
Porn. It was a documentary on porn.
I watched
Actually,
a
all the
bunch.
ones on
They're
Netflix
all right.
suck. They
yeah,
suck.
they
though.
do.
I watched. It was sort of like a documentary style, but it was
A mockumentary.
no. It was like it was done in like a documentary style, but it wasn't. It was Todd Barry. He's a stand-up comedian. He was doing like stand-up, but instead of going out with material, he was just doing crowd work.
It
Like,
was
he
one of
just-
those. I've seen some of those.
Yeah, he's just making fun of people in the crowd, and he didn't
Yeah.
go on stage with like any prepared jokes. He was just riffing in
It's
the crowd.
pretty intense.
It's pretty gutty, right? But it was
No,
hilarious.
I like stuff like that. It shows
He's,
creativity.
Yeah, he's like a fantastic comedian, Todd Barry. That was on Netflix. I highly recommend it. I didn't really have much of a point about that documentary, but it was just a
recommendation. That's good.
recommendation because it was hilarious.
Just want to also say one thing to all those celebrating Hanukkah or any other holiday. Happy Hanukkah and like happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
I don't know when Kwanzaa is, but happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
Merry
another
Christmas, Happy
another
Hanukkah.
Eid coming up. I think.
Do you guys get uppity when people say Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas? Like, do you care one way or the other?
I get more uppity by the people who assume that there are people out there that are going to tell them not to say Merry Christmas. Like, I have never encountered somebody who's actually cared that I say Merry Christmas because I
Yeah.
do without thinking. Like, I'm not like one of those people who's so stubborn I have to. I just don't really think about it.
Right.
Especially because I work in retail. So I just say it sometimes, and I've never once had a person say, oh, it's Happy Holidays. So I just, because of my experience, I just have the theory that it's one of those things like the Starbucks cup thing.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
more people offended at the idea that people are mad than there are that are actually
Well, it's
mad.
more just like a urban myth, like folklore type of thing. Like I also, when I worked in retail and all that, the Target that no longer exists in Canada, I think I said Merry Christmas to like an ethnic couple, and they didn't say anything. It was like Merry Christmas and all smiles. I've never witnessed
Yeah.
anyone get offended and all that.
Yeah.
Now I find myself just saying like have a good happy
It
good
really-
Christmas or good holidays. But
It really kind of upsets me when people like, I see people sharing stuff on Facebook that's like, I say Merry Christmas because I'm Canadian. and
just the
that's-
ignorance.
And that's what I do, and that's what the right thing is. Christmas.
I like that. My favorite part is that people say that it's because they're Christian and like
Christmas is actually a pagan tradition.
Christmas was a pagan tradition that came before the Christians like took over and
There's nothing
everything.
wrong with paganism.
No, no.
Actually, if I have to identify as something, it'd be like spiritualist or paganism.
Yeah.
Like
Well, at this point, like all the commercial holidays, like Christmas and anything that used to have religious like context to it, is all sort
basically
of like
everything's
dead now.
based off like almost everything we have now is almost based off like old pagan like tradition or rituals.
Yeah, but like none of that's really connected anymore. So it's just
Oh
like,
no! Now it's just for
Commercial.
commercial. It's just retail. Hey, go spend a lot of money on
That's
your family. And
Yeah.
the other
shit.
thing that I'm curious on that point. I agree, but I wonder how much of that is just North American. I've never really
yeah.
traveled abroad. I wonder maybe Europe or some places in particular
yeah,
have
well-
that religious.
Well, every
aspect
place
still.
kind of puts their own spin on it. Like for the
Yeah.
most part, like everything's pretty common. There's all the major
Yeah.
traditions throughout the whole world, and each place will do their things. But I feel, North America just go more all out on like the gifts and the money aspect,
yeah,
and
we
compared
are-
to just
we
the
are-
family aspect to it.
Yeah, I guess not even just with holidays, but as a continent, we're we're way more commercialized.
As, like,
in
yeah,
a lot of different.
The Western world and all that, it's all just about. It's all capitalism.
But it's funny that you guys, that paganism got brought up.
Is it?
It is. It's hilarious.
Yeah, my sides are split.
It's a knee slapper.
What kind of segue is this? Where are we going?
It's funny to me because I was talking to you guys earlier about this new show that I started watching called Vikings.
More softcore porn on TV, guys.
It's not. There's no nudity. I mean, they have sex, but not any more than like your
so
regular
yeah,
show.
so it's softcore porn.
Okay, all right. It's History Channel porn. So it's just old people.
Ew.
It's not. No, it's on the History Channel. There's 3 seasons out now. Highly recommend. It's
I've heard good
basically
things.
it's the way that I'm trying to tell people is like if Sons of Anarchy was dropped into the world of Vikings way back when, because it's all just about like raiding the next country over and like bringing back all the stuff you steal from them, and just they all fight with axes,
Well,
which is
raping
just super
and
cool.
pillaging.
Like, yeah, they actually discourage rape a lot more than you think.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's just for TV. You have to make
That's
it.
kinda-
It has to get broadcast and like played
It actually-
somehow.
Well,
It's a bit. Yeah, that's kind of like what Sons of Anarchy was like for bikers. Like they were a biker gang, but they weren't like as racist and like sexist as biker gangs typically are.
yeah, and that's the thing with Vikings is that they acknowledge that it happens, and it's like they even say in one point, a man can rape a female slave because I guess to them
Well,
slaves
to them,
weren't.
slaves weren't people.
Yeah, slaves weren't
Yeah.
people. So it wasn't even. It was the mindset was completely different. It wasn't like they were just okay with rape. It was that they didn't even think of the slaves as people. But if you raped a free woman, you could be murdered for that. Like they would kill you for raping a woman.
Huh.
So
Good guy Vikings.
Yeah, good guy Vikings.
Hey, it's put a
standing up.
positive twist on it somehow, right?
Yeah,
So,
but it's a super cool show. I would
I
recommend.
think
I'm only a couple
I'll,
episodes in.
I
but
think I'll check that show out. It's on Netflix. Not on
No,
Netflix.
I don't think so. No.
History Channel.
Is it like have you finished Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like as heartbreaking and like emotional as Sons of Anarchy was towards the end?
I'm only in. I'm 9 episodes into the first season of Vikings, so I can't speak to how it goes. But it progresses very quickly. Like between 2 episodes, at one point there was like a whole season had gone by. Because the main thing with the show is that they raid in the summer, and then over the winter they just live off of the food and the money that they've raided and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, there was a couple of jumps in time, but it's
Because
it is pretty dramatic. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up having a lot. Like you get kind of connected to the characters the same way.
yeah, because Sons of Anarchy was an experience. You know, that was a burden kind of towards the end.
Yeah,
Like it felt like just such a weight. You had to sit through this thing. Like it was a great show. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, how many
I loved
seasons were there?
it. 7.
Yeah, I gotta watch.
oh, it's so good.
It's such a great show, but towards the end, you just feel like this weight's lifted off your shoulders because it's over, and it's like
Kind of like Breaking Bad. How it just dragged on.
sort of. But this show just seemed so much like not many good things happen in this show at all. Like there's not a whole
Yeah.
lot of like.
Well, I gotta on that topic, like right away in the plight and all that, the kid's like his baby like got fucked up by drugs and all that because his ex-wife.
Yeah.
But,
The first
for
first
Vikings,
episode.
are there any like major like popular like celebrities or actors in it, or like are they
Actually,
D-list?
it's funny. I hadn't even thought of it until you just said that. Mick will get the reference, but you won't. There's a character that a certain actor on Sons of Anarchy played that this actor is now playing a character on Vikings as well.
Really?
His name's Donald Logue. He played Mick. You'll know what was he? He was like an ex-ranger or cop or whatever whose whose sister got killed.
He was the U.S. Marshal.
Yeah,
in,
U.S. Marshal
in
Sons of
season
Anarchy.
5, I think, of Sons of
Yeah,
Anarchy.
he is in Vikings. He plays the king of the Vikings.
But otherwise, for the most part, they're just no major like A-listers.
yeah, there's a lot
D-list
of there's a lot of people with in the credits at least that look like they could be
It's-
from Iceland
so
and
this is
stuff like
just
that.
kind of
Like,
Stars Travis Fimmel as the main guy. Then you got Catherine Winnick, Clive Standen, Gustav Skarsgård,
Skarsgård, yeah.
Alexander Ludwig, Alyssa Sutherland. There's a lot of women in this show.
Are they like
There are a lot of there's some good female characters. in the
George
show.
Blagden.
Are they mostly younger? Or are they a little more older?
They're
It
pretty
depends.
young.
There's it's like a whole community. So there's
Okay.
Like in their 30s.
there are some characters that are fairly young, and then like the main guy has 2 kids. So there's a whole variety of characters.
So
in it.
this might be like the breakout to North America for some of these actors from over there. Like kind of like Christoph Waltz. He was huge in Germany, unknown here
Yeah.
until
kinda like that,
Inglourious
though.
Bastards.
I kind of like that when you go into a show and like all the characters are
They're all fresh. You have no you don't
It-
any
it-
ever images of them something else. You don't
That's-
have preset ideas for
Yeah.
them. It's
That's what I
fresh.
loved
It's
about.
refreshing.
That's what I loved about Sons of Anarchy. Because other than Ron Perlman and who played Gemma? Seagal.
Katie Seagal.
Katie Seagal. Other than them, I didn't know anybody else in that show.
Who was Gemma?
knew-
Was
I
that
knew
the
a
guy's
couple of them.
mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did look familiar. I know.
Katie Seagal.
She
Yeah,
was on
she-
8 Simple Rules.
Futurama.
All in the,
Yep.
not all in the family. Married with Children.
Yeah, Married with Children.
As well.
Yeah.
She was the voice of Layla from
Leela.
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 Yep.
Yeah.
Vikings is good, yeah, because there's a lot of fresh characters, so you get really into, actors, so you get really into the characters right away. That's what I found is like 2 episodes in, I was involved. I was like invested in these characters and what they were doing because I wasn't thinking them as actors.
What channel does it play on? History?
It's History Channel, yeah.
I think it's also on FX.
Okay.
I don't even get like TV. I just stream everything. So
yeah, you just steal it.
I steal it.
Like
yeah,
a criminal.
I'm a criminal. I'm a crook. I'm a crook.
Okay.
Yeah. So check it out.
Bigfoot.
Another recommendation.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Wes, you have a thing or two to say about Bigfoot.
Who doesn't have a thing about Bigfoot?
I got some big feet too.
Hey now, you know what they say about big feet?
It's
Big
not,
shoes.
it's not true.
I was gonna say big cock, but
Yeah, no, they disprove that.
go ahead.
Yeah, I recently had to write an essay. It was the only. It was a research essay. So I chose to write mine as a persuasive style essay, trying to prove that Bigfoot exists. Which right away I realized
ballsy.
As soon as I had said that was what I wanted to do, I realized that there is no way you can 100% prove that Bigfoot exists. So I
suggest it.
I changed my thesis to trying to provide doubt that Bigfoot doesn't exist. Trying to make it seem at least somewhat reasonable to the idea that
plausible.
it could. Yeah, so trying to make it plausible, trying to give people a little bit of doubt that are so certain that Bigfoot is fake.
What were some of your main points?
So without, I mean, I don't have all the references in my head right now, but there is a.
Just kind of like how much of the massive forests have been unexplored.
Yeah.
Food supply.
North America is about 1/3 forest. And I found a map that NASA produced of the United States based on density of forest. And I found another map of all reported Bigfoot sightings, which there's over 3,000 of since 1921, which that's just when they started recording
keeping
them
tracks,
and everything. Yeah.
Kind of like UFOs and all. They've been reports forever, but they've been recorded since Roswell.
Do they get reports less frequently now than they used to?
I didn't check that, honestly. I still have some websites that I can take a look at.
There would be more, right? With all the cell phones and people taking photos of everything.
See, and with that, though, how many people in this kind of society go out into the deep woods? And a lot of people doing that, they're not the kind of people who bring the technology. Who will go into the northern forest.
You hope they bring something.
One of the theories that this guy who made the map of all the sightings. Well, just one thing on that. The map with all the sightings and the map of the density of forest almost
made in crayon.
They
you drew it in lipstick.
They almost
getting kinky.
They almost
go ahead.
The two maps almost completely matched. So most I would say. Just looking at it without knowing an actual figure, probably 90% of sightings of Bigfoot have happened in the dense forest. Obviously, it kind of makes sense. But I wanted to see that for sure. And then I don't know. There's a couple species that of other animals that throughout history we have thought to go extinct because we
great
just didn't
apes,
see it.
Gigantopithecus.
Well, Gigantopithecus is what some people think Bigfoot is.
Just kind of the lost link between there and us Homo sapiens.
Yeah. But there was one that was it was a deer that they found in Afghanistan, and the last time that somebody found it actually has fangs. The male deer, instead of having antlers, they have fangs that they use to fight with, which is creepy. They look like vampires.
That's nuts.
But the last sighting was 1948, and then it went missing for 60 years, and then suddenly in the last couple of years they've seen it 5 times. So they declared it extinct not long after 1948 because they just couldn't find it anymore. Turns out it just lives 9,000 feet above sea level where it's people don't go. I just kind of comment.
Well, there's a lot of species. Look at even the coelacanth thought to be extinct for 64 million years. And now they find was it in Australia and all that. There's tons of animals.
Yeah, happens all the time.
So based on your paper and your research and everything you've done, all the stats you've looked at and testimony, where do you stand on Bigfoot? Do you think it's a possibility, a real thing, or do you just want to believe to make it a fairy tale?
I'll give you a rough overview of my history with Bigfoot. I've never had an experience. I've never been 100% a believer or a non-believer. I used to tell a joke commonly that I don't go camping because I'm scared I'm going to meet Bigfoot. Yeah. It was so funny.
I think that laugh was funnier.
Yeah.
good
But yeah,
job.
no, it was just a little thing that I used to say, and then I realized I don't necessarily believe in Bigfoot, but now,
Give us percentages. Like,
especially having done this essay, I 100% believe that it is likely or possible.
so
or
what are you like?
plausible.
70% believe
Yeah,
that, or more?
yeah, I'm like 70% believe that Sasquatch is real.
That's cool, man.
But I'm not like gonna go looking. I'm not like one of those guys who's just gonna go live in the woods and like.
Do
Well, you
think
need a lot
s-
of money to do that.
Do you think Sasquatch is like a misunderstood gentle giant, or do you think it's something to be feared?
Well, I think even if it is a misunderstood gentle giant,
I think it's
it
like
should
any
be
wild,
feared.
any
Yeah.
wild animal.
Any wild animal should be respected and feared just because you don't know what the fuck
That's
it's
a good
gonna
point,
do.
I guess.
Anyone's instinct. It's even in humans. Like people will eat other people, kill anything if you get hungry enough.
Be
Yeah.
afraid of everything all the time.
Pretty
Nightmare.
much. Pretty
Nightmare.
much.
What is this? The hyper administration?
Well, I mean, like
Hey-o,
bears.
politics.
Bears by nature, they're not gonna kill a human because humans don't interact with them. They don't go seeking out humans. It's not like they eat
but
humans.
it's like
But if you're in
territory,
its, if
family,
you're in its
food.
area and if you instigate it, kind of thing, if they're aggressive and that.
Yeah,
kind of thing
I was
happens,
just
so-
watching a Bill Burr stand-up special, and he was talking about like shark attacks and how people say, most shark attacks happen in shallow water. Well,
Yeah.
that's just because that's where the people are.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
going to get a deep ocean
No,
shark
on that
attack.
fuck shark attacks. I've never swam in the ocean. I don't plan on it because I'm terrified of that.
Really?
Yeah, even when I was a little kid, we visited my uncle. He was in the Navy down there and all that. And we went to the beach one day, and I wouldn't go in the water because I was fucking terrified.
Do
of
you
sharks.
watch TV during Shark Week?
That doesn't have anything because that's all made up. But just on shark attacks and all that. This year, all-time high of shark attacks. And
Well,
I'm
the
just saying-
climate
saying.
change, man.
On all that, they go where the food is, and the
Well,
water,
yeah.
ocean water temperatures changing, and this
Yeah.
and that. And
It's so many variables
Do
involved.
you guys
with it.
think climate change is as big of a deal as some people think it is?
yes,
Yeah,
Like, do you think it's a man-made thing, or do you think it's just nature?
I think it's a combination. I think
Both.
nature is definitely on its own course. I
and
think
it's pissed.
I think, yeah, I think climate was changing. Like, I think I saw some.
well, it's a natural cycle. It's even shown throughout history. There's periods where warm, and there's periods
Yeah.
of cooling, and it's not and all that. But humans,
I think we've added to
the
it.
Industrial Revolution, we've
certainly haven't helped.
pushed
Yeah.
it beyond the point where it was meant to be.
I've seen so many. Sorry to cut you off. I've just seen so many articles that were that are basically saying like, if we switch to this energy source, we could cut climate change in half by 2030 or 2050. Like, there's more than one different thing.
Well, I'm a
saying-
bigger believer in that too.
saying,
Solar
like,
energy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different options that people keep saying. Well, if we did this, I guarantee it would stop climate change by this date or whatever. But like, why aren't we doing any of those things? Like, there's so many of
let's
those
see, look
things.
at it's the Rockefellers, it's the oil companies and all that. They're the ones who pretty much founded everything. They own everything. A lot of it's that.
I think there's a handful of people that have money in like fossil fuels and like crude oil and stuff like that, and
And
they
it's
don't
the people
wanna
who kind
give
of
it up.
founded everything, like the Rockefellers and all. They like started everything like for America and like
Yeah.
huge
I think once those guys
kickstarters.
die out, and like I don't know, if they start investing in alternative fuel sources, like eventually they'll
Well, once the
catch up.
fuel sources run out, then we'll
It's
have
just
to.
it's just a slow process to switch everything over.
I've always wondered why like so many things are determined by where the rich people have their money, but why can't the rich people just put their money into things that are better? Like, they could still make money off of renewable energy.
That's just not the way.
It just
most
seems
people
like
are.
it just seems like a weird thing that they're so stubborn on. Like, oil makes me this much money, but like, yeah, but something else could make you 80% of the money that you make on that, and you'd still be making profit. Yeah, maybe it'd be less
Yeah,
profit,
but
but
in
you're
the-
fucking
I
saving
think a
the
lot of
world
it's
while you
just
do it.
risk.
In the business world, it's like the most profit is the goal, right? So if you can, I don't know. Like
I think-
if they have to put in more effort than they need to make less money, then they're not going to do it.
Well, not
Yeah.
even that. It's a risk. Like if you have a brand, like you have like an oil brand, and there's already people who have like brands in alternative energy and like already know. And if you try and switch, you're gonna become an unknown. You're a powerhouse. Now you have to start from the bottom, basically. So
Yeah.
you're taking a big risk business wise. Like you could flop and it could kill you.
Did you guys see Beijing? What their like?
Did you see
air
the
looks
brick
like?
that they made? The guy with
Yeah.
the vacuum, he walked down for a week, which is the vacuum
It
in
was,
the air.
it was 100 days.
100 days. Yeah. It was fucked.
Made a brick
He actually
out
made a
of
brick.
out of the pollution in the air by vacuuming the air.
I couldn't
That's
believe it.
crazy.
100 days is like not a long
Yeah.
period of time either.
It's like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your lungs must be working overtime there if they're trying to like filter that stuff out and clear your air. Like it's gross, man.
I
Gross.
I wonder if they're I don't know if it's been happening for long enough. Like You know, like we live in the Waterloo Kitchener area, and like I live in Guelph, but
Sure do.
there's a huge population of Asians that come to University of Waterloo, especially, but other schools as well. Like I know there's a pretty high.
But Waterloo's the most because it's one of the most like internationally known schools in the world.
Yeah.
It's one of the top universities.
I wonder what the health differences are between students who study abroad versus people who grow
That's an
up.
interesting
question. What do you
in
mean?
Beijing.
Like
well,
the-
the air quality.
They
Like
struggle breathing and stuff like
they
that.
come here, and if you see them in Waterloo, most Asian people who are like international students,
Right.
they still wear the breathing masks here. So how much? What do you think
SARS.
their health levels must be exponentially higher that they're still wearing that mask, even though our air is much cleaner? Plus, they're out of that air for however long they're here studying. Plus,
Yeah,
if they get a job here afterwards, they're here potentially
well,
forever.
If, I mean, the more time you spend outside of the shitty air, the better your lungs are going to be, the better you're going to be.
I just
healthier
I just
you're
wonder what the because like I wonder what just in general if like you look at Beijing, how many students study abroad and how many students study in Beijing, and then if you broke that down by
Well, hopefully, if you're smart, you
like
get the fuck out of
longevity.
get the fuck out of Beijing. Because it's gross, you know. If you can't see 3 feet in front of you because there's just poison in the air.
Well, even with the Olympics of the swimming, they had to completely dredge all like the water from all the slime and pollution in it. Like it was
that's
disgusting.
I have
so
no
Disgusting.
like. I'm all about traveling the world and like getting experience. Like,
I
But
do
not-
not. I
not
do not
as-
want to go to Asia.
I'm
Yeah.
absolutely not for going to that part of the world.
Well-
I had a Chinese exchange student. He was my roommate last year, and
I did too. Fuck that guy if you're listening.
I don't know. He was a nice enough guy. It's just the way he was describing the way everything's working over there. Like he said he only lived distance wise between like where he lived and where Hong Kong was. He says it was only like the distance between here and Toronto. Like it should take like 2 hours maybe to get there, an hour.
An hour.
But he said it was a 12-hour drive just because there's so
What?
many cars everywhere.
Well, did you see the video went viral like a couple months ago? I think of this like highway in somewhere in Asia. I sound super
They have
ignorant
traffic
for not
jams that
knowing.
last days.
It was like 50 lanes that had to merge down into like 5.
Yeah.
And there was just a video of all the cars backed up for who knows how far in the distance because it's like this crazy super wide highway that all has to merge down into like a 5-lane highway. And it's just ridiculous.
I know what's weird with that too.
The infrastructure is just crazy.
You wonder why none of them can drive. Hey,
Well,
Not every family over there owns cars. Like over here, families own multiple cars and all that. Over there, like people, I've watched a documentary and they literally have to like bid and they'll be like their whole month's like salary or like year's salary into the chance to get a license. Like you literally bid online to get these.
what was that you watched?
Oh, I can't remember. I think it was on I want to say CBC. I can't
That'd be
remember.
really interesting.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, they literally bid. I think you bid to get a license, and you have to bid
Yeah.
to get a car. And over there, it's like a prestige thing. If you have a car, it's prestige. And families like they're legit. Like they want their daughter. Like they put out like what they want, like qualifications to marry like their daughter and all that. And if you have a car, it puts you way up there. Like it's fucked up. So imagine that's
Do you know where was that in China specifically?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah,
okay.
China. So imagine if every family was like North America and had cars. How much worse the traffic would be and the pollution.
That's for
Well, I
sure.
guess if you just look at the massive scale of the amount of people that
Just
live
due to the
in-
population.
in those big cities like Hong Kong is massive. Like,
Because like where I'm staying right now, with at times there are 6 cars at the house.
brag about
yeah,
it. Hey, how much time do we
But-
have left?
we have about a minute and 15 seconds.
Fuck, I want to
Okay.
talk more about Bigfoot. He
Hey, hold on.
exists. It's plausible. It's most likely.
Quickly in this last
Fine.
minute, do you guys want to guess the top 10 Pornhub searches of 2015?
Teen anal milf
Bondage. 50 Shades.
no,
came
seriously,
out.
seriously, hold
Definitely,
on.
definitely.
Number
bondage.
one, what do you think the number one most searched
Teen.
thing in 2015 was?
teen.
Teen was number 6.
What?
Number 6.
Number 1 in Canada or worldwide?
This was in the UK.
Oh, UK.
You wanna
they're
see-
weird.
You wanted to see top 10?
Just what's number
top-
5?
Okay, well, if we're doing 5, this is a new list. Teen was number 2. Number 5 is MILF.
I agree
Oh,
with that.
what's
If,
number
there's,
1
if there was
then?
one category that you could, if you had to stick to and only stick to that category, what would it be on Pornhub? I'd pick MILF. I would pick MILF.
What?
MILF makes more sense.
Dude, I
because
like
as
older
you get
ladies.
older, as you get older, it makes more sense. If you choose teen, and then 20 years from now it looks weird. Like,
Yeah, but as you're getting older, like the people you're actually friggin' are like MILFs. So like, wouldn't you
Dude,
want to live the
if
fantasy
I wanted
of like?
to, I'd
That's
take one
true.
now.
Wouldn't you want to relive your like high school years and your college years of like?
all right.
Number-
We're out of time.
Where was Bondage?
What was number
it
one?
on there?
We'll leave number 1 for next year.
No, I need to know.
Nope.
Okay, this was our last show before Christmas.
Who's lesbian?
Lesbian. okay.
No. Was it
Or
actually?
was
Was it actually?
it?
So
Yeah, well.
this was our last show before Christmas. We're all taking a break. We will be back early January at some point.
We'll be back when we're back. Bitches.
Yeah, you can expect us. But yeah, we'll have plenty of cool stories for you. And
so.
yeah, so on that note,
Don't be a fucking Grinch. Spend time with your family.
yeah, I've been Wes.
Eric,
I have been Mick.
who else would he be?
Nobody else. All right, see you later.
See you later.
Go fuck yourself.